What's the controversy today?
It's none as far as I know. You tell me.
Steve, who will start for Klay, and what went into the decision to have tonight be a night for him to take off?
Patrick's going to start. Klay was sick the last couple games, and he's just run down, and I think he just needs a night off. And so I think it'll be really good for him, and he'll be ready to go Thursday.
Steve, what does Draymond Green mean?
That's a pretty broad question that I could answer in a lot of different ways, but in many ways he's our most important player, you know, because we've got three guys who can all put up 30 or 40 on a given night. So if we miss one of those guys like we are tonight, we feel pretty confident we can still make up for the scoring. It's hard to make up for what Draymond brings us. Defense, the versatility, you know, multiple position guarding, the rebounding, and just the general leadership. So he's a critical guy for us.
You mentioned kind of the dog days of the season where guys do need a little bit more rest. Do you expect to be resting more players over the coming weeks, or is this kind of a one-off thing with
I won't hesitate to do so. It's not something that I'm going to circle on the calendar. I tried to do that 2 years ago. My first year here, I thought I was being really smart and circled days like that would be a good day to give somebody off. And then that day comes and that guy's feeling great. You know, maybe he didn't have to play much the previous game, you know, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe there's a game where even though we've had several days off, you know, a guy's sick or a guy is banged up. So I can't predict it, but I do know that there are certain times when you can just tell a guy's worn down. Klay's a little worn down, and so if I see that with somebody else, we'll sit that guy too.
Steve, you've used the first center off the bench, but it's been pretty quick runs for him last few games. How do you tell that, and is it some of it just you want David in for certain specific reasons? How does that feel for you when you're playing your centers, particularly early on in the game?
Yeah, it's almost all based on matchups, and we get a feel pretty quickly for what we want to do with those matchups. And just so happens that the last couple games with David, we wanted to get him out there a little quicker, and it cut into JaVale's minutes. So just the way it goes. But the great thing with JaVale, he understands his role. He's ready to play if we put him out there, and he's producing every time that we do. And then when we choose not to put him out there, he doesn't take it personally, and he stays ready, and he gets on the bike after the games and plays 3-on-3 the next day. And the guy's a total pro, and he's been an absolute delight to have on the team, and he's made a huge impact. But his minutes are sporadic, and he understands that.
The next couple of moments, President Obama will be giving his farewell speech. And I wanted to ask you, what was some of your fondest memories of visiting the White House as a head coach as well as a player?
Yeah, it's an amazing honor to visit the White House, and I was lucky enough to visit there several times as a player, and then of course last year with our team as a coach, and it was surreal last year to be in there. He's such a big basketball fan, and to talk to him about basketball was really fun. To see the ease with which he communicated with our players, and the humor and the joy, it was really a phenomenal experience. And I'm going to try to watch the speech tonight. I have my favorite Obama memory is actually his inauguration. The first time I was with the Phoenix Suns, and I was a general manager, and the whole team watched the inauguration together, and it was just such an amazing day, a historic day. And my daughter was actually there. She was 10 years old, and went from San Diego as part of a student group to be part of the audience. She was on the mall, about a mile away, but a memory that she'll have forever. And for me, watching with the team was amazing too.
Adam Silver has said that he hopes players, consider going to the White House under the new presidency.
because he thinks by not going you're turning down an important opportunity. How do you feel about that if a player decides that he doesn't want to go to Trump's White House?
I certainly hope that we have to have that decision to make.
Perfect answer.
And I'll move on to the next question.
I've asked you this, but you do have a ton of centers, and most times when the players who don't play are centers.
Yeah.
Do you feel there is a little roster balance, or is this, you're not the general manager, but is there a sense that you might be looking for someone, a guard or someone to kind of offset some of the imbalance on this roster?
Well, I won't answer the the personnel side. I'll leave that to Bob. But I will say that if there were an injury, or even a night like tonight where Klay's out, it's easy to see. I mean, you guys see it that we are a little vulnerable. If we happen to get another injury tonight while Klay's already sitting out, yeah, we're vulnerable, and so that is something that that we talk about and think about.
I know that one of the characteristics is his composure, but in a situation like this, do you see a need to pull him aside and just have a word or two with him, or either you or one of the assistants?
Not really. We told him this morning he'd be starting, and we feel we have a lot of confidence in him. And I think sometimes if you talk to a guy, you would just make him more nervous. Sometimes the best way to go is just to throw him out there and let him play and see what happens. And you gotta see how he responds anyway, and whether he needs a little advice or not, I don't know. I'm not planning on saying anything to him.
Coach, I see on Twitter a lot going on about the commercial with Draymond Green and the fashion that people are wearing to games. Have you ever worn anything or seen any of your teammates wear anything that was not good, or have you done so yourself? Can you name names?
I'm pretty vanilla, as you probably have noticed. Unfortunately, yeah, I haven't drawn much attention from the fashion police, but teammates. There was a guy named Dennis Rodman who was an interesting dresser, so I remember him. But I don't pay close attention to our guys. I think it's a great commercial. I saw it for the first time today. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, it's good stuff. I think I will say this: when the dress code was instituted 10 years ago by whenever it was by David Stern. 10 years ago?
A little bit, probably over time.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at first, and I think in hindsight, I think it was the best thing that could have been done. A lot of guys were like wearing throwback jerseys and stuff on the sidelines, and I think David Stern wanted to make the whole thing look more professional. I thought it was sort of infringing on guys' right to dress however they wanted, but whether it was intentional or not, it created kind of this fashion wave that has, first of all, made the guys look more professional. Not in every case, but in most cases. But secondly, I think it's drawn a lot of attention to the league from maybe people who wouldn't have been as interested. Maybe they're more interested in fashion than basketball, but now they're watching the NBA. You see guys walking into the game with an interesting outfit on. We're in the entertainment business, so I think it's great. Guys look good. They look professional. Some of them look interesting, but it's fun, and I think it's all been a good change.
So who would you say is the best dressed on your team?
Ron Adams. Try not to smile.
On that note.